Hey, good morning, lug nuts. We're here in Colorado Springs at Adesa, Colorado Springs, and we're going to be talking to a couple people today. First interview this morning is with Mr. Kevin Rudder. Kevin is a accomplished ringman, and he is also an accomplished auctioneer with benefits and everything. So, first of all, Kevin, let's start out. Where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Queens, New York, but I live in the Denver metropolitan area now.
So, Kevin, what made you get in? I mean, was you growing up as a child? Did you think I'm going to be an auctioneer?
No, I never even heard of the word. If you'd have told me ringman, I would have thought like a ring bearer. I never heard of the terminology. Originally, three older brothers, three younger sisters, born and raised Queens, New York, not very low income family, and never would have dreamt of this profession. I was an entertainer of sorts my whole life, middle child that puts you there. So for me, worked out.
Yeah.
And so and being broke, I actually got involved in magic. Cards were cheap, and it was sort of entertaining for me. So I did a lot of that, but then I got into the plumbing industry and ran my own company for a while until 2009 when the economy trashed. And then Jeff, kind of a weird thing happened was a buddy of mine was like, "Hey man, why don't you fast?" And because my career was falling apart, and I thought I was Moses, I guess, and so I decided not to eat for multiple days, and all I did was drank water. I know this is crazy. What are you doing? But I did. True story, man. And so then I went in the mountains. Yeah, that sounds like the right thing to do. You're only drinking water, and so like, oh, well, that's good. And so I did, and then I don't know. I thought maybe the creator of the universe would part the sky and be like, "Good job down there, Kevin," and somehow I would be rewarded. And nothing happened. After all those days of not eating, and then my ex-wife or wife at the time told me to take my son Brian, who was 5 at the time, and he was a Tiger Cub, to his Cub Scout thing because they were going to do a bake sale, which is just the best thing to do is see all this food while you're not eating for multiple days. And there was a guy there. His name was Paul Seabear, and he happened to be giving these kids these tongue twisters, and just kind of a weird turn of events, right? I sat there listening to him, and then he had the sheets, and then I actually read them off, and it was like, "You ever thought about getting in the auction profession?" And I thought, whoa, is this it? Is this God parting the skies? Like, is this the thing? Could this be? And I just ignored the guy at that time, and then I went on my merry way. And then about 3 months later, there it was. I was down and out, and I'm like, I think that was meant for me. And so I Googled the person's name. I saw a school about it in Mason City, Iowa. I got in my car with no money and slept in my car and went there and went to the school. And I guess the rest is history. And then I joined this secret society of auto auctioneers, which Jeff, man, it's kind of like the mafia.
It is, man. It's hard. It's hard to get in.
It's harder than hard. There's a Starbucks on every corner, but there's maybe 5 auto auctions in the entire state of Colorado, 1 or 2 in New Mexico where I work. So you're talking about a profession with only 20 or 30 people in it, and you sort of got to kiss the ring. And and there might be things you might not like about it, but that's what you signed up for. But once you're in, and it's a great band of brothers. It's like Thanksgiving, grandpa's there, and brothers you love and hate, and but you all get along in the end, and all brothers from another mother.
Well, your faith, you have a very strong faith, and I think that it was part of what brought you to Paul. And I think, it doesn't happen overnight, and I think your faith really did direct you into a career that, wow, you have an awesome career now. So, you do benefits, you do galas, you ring. You're becoming an accomplished auctioneer. Well, you've always been one, but you're getting jobs now, and that's a big sign. You've dug to the trenches, man. You drive to everything if you can. For the last month and a half, I know for a fact you've been driving to Albuquerque after this sale every week,
Right.
And now you're on in Albuquerque.
Yeah, right. That's true, Jeff. I do lane 4 for credit acceptance and wheels and several other accounts there. And yeah, what a great job that is. And it's fun working at dealers, working here at Adesa. And it's been a fun run. It's been a great ride. And the fundraising events around the country, that's really my bread and butter. That's where I generate most of my income. Although the auto auctions are great and fantastic too, but yeah, I can't complain. It's been a great job. People say find a job you love, Jeff. Never work a day in your life, man. And I think that's true. And hopefully, what we make, we give back to others. And I always try to do that financially, educational wise, sharing through education. And
Well, you do. You have a big heart, Kevin. I mean, I've seen that in you since I've known you. If you're not trying to help somebody, you're visiting them at the hospital or you're praying for them, you've got a heart that's bigger than Texas, man. So I think that's one of the big things that really, really make you stand out in this business. And not to mention your energy that you have, the energy you portray in the business, excuse me, as a ringman is just amazing. I mean, you're 150 miles an hour all the time, and that's from start to finish. And there's not a lot of people that can do that, man.
Well, Jeff, though, I think it was John McGuire showed me the money. Told me, man, you got to put on your last car as much as your first car. And I mean, that's somebody's. That money is a lot to somebody. We might have an inventory for Wells Fargo, as you know, and it might be $2.5 million, and they got to hit that nut at the end, and they're counting on us to get every dollar we can. And some of them they lose a little, some they gain a little, but hopefully at the end they hit that number on the bottom. That's where we come in. No internet's going to do that. No computer's going to generate that. No matter how hard they try, there's nothing to the power of a live auction with great salesmen and people like ourselves in this industry, which is what I love so much.
Kevin, explain there's a lot of the big auction companies that are doing away with ringmen, which myself, I believe is a big mistake because a ringman is very crucial. A good ringman is very crucial to the success of an auction. Explain to me your feelings on that.
Yeah, Jeff, I think you're absolutely right. I feel like sometimes you get bean counters in there and they're just looking at the KPI or they're looking at their pro forma worksheet and they're just looking at that P&L and some guy's saying, hey, if we cut this, we'll save that. And the reality is they're losing money on it. And if they could do away with this, they would have. And I feel like during COVID was the opportunity that they could have, Jeff, as you know. And many of the big companies would have done that. But then when the big businesses that you function with, like, and I won't bring up all the names, but Ally Financial and all these other companies, and saying, hey, look, the data on your side might say that we're making more money generating it online. The reality is our worksheets here, our numbers are showing us that we made more money with live auctioneers and people on the floor, and that's what we're game to do. We're not there just for an entertainment value. We're there to make money for our client, and we're really the referee in the middle. We have the buyer and the seller, and we're working both. We're grinding on one side, grinding on the other, and it takes a lot of work. You might be the first time seeing an auction. There's a lot of going on. It's organized chaos at its best, and it takes a special finesse, And it seems easier on the outside, but so does probably flying the 777 airplane, sitting in the back seat, and until you grab the stick and realize, whoa, this thing is a lot of work. Same thing happens. I remember first getting in the ring or getting behind the mic and realizing there's a lot more to flying this plane.
Oh, guaranteed, man. So, you touched on COVID just a minute ago. COVID messed up everybody's world. What did it do to you, and what did you do to overcome COVID when you were in the COVID era?
Yeah, man. Hey, man, there's a saying, it's hard work beats talent if talent don't work hard, and that's something I truly believe. And in our hardest times comes out the best of us, the diamond really out of the coal, so to speak. But, the same, it was Jesus that said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world. And I think that's what makes us who we are. And yeah, obviously during COVID, we lost live auctions, and I lost a lot. And so, I did a lot of fundraising events online, but even that didn't do as great as every one of those fundraising auctioneers want to lead you to believe. And I literally did DoorDash. I worked 60 hours a week. I did 10 hours a day, and I only took Mondays off unless I was working fundraising event, which of course was just solely online. And I tried to find the best place that did DoorDash, which is Cheesecake Factory, Ruth Chris Steakhouse. I went in their most ideal locations, and I got 3 accounts, 3 DoorDash accounts. So I had 3 cell phones, and I just cherry picked the best orders. You can't do that anymore, but during COVID, they were desperate for people. And I actually made pretty decent money at it, but it never was it my intention. But those are the things, though, that our kids see. We hear about those grandpa stories and grandma stories where mom did this and dad did that. And I wanted to be the same thing to my kids. I wanted to show them that you don't just sit around and wait for things to happen. You freaking do it. And then in the hardest times, that's where you really rise to the occasion. And so for a brief period of time, I was doing that.
You know, my auctioneer coach, teacher, when I was working for Anglo American, his name was Jim Barnes. And Jim had a saying, and the saying was the best 10 2-letter words to live by, and it's if it is to be, it is up to me. Mm-hmm. And then he had another great saying. It was like, if you want a helping hand, try the end of your sleeve. and I've taken those two and made them a model in my life, because nobody's going to give it to you. If you, during COVID, nobody was going to pay your rent. You had to get out there and you had to make it work. Right. And you did whatever it took. And I think that made you a stronger person, number one. Mm-hmm. I think it made you more hungry to get into the auction business and really do exceptionally well. And I think your career has really taken off since COVID, and it's coming along really good now.
Yeah. You know, I mean, there's different lanes, obviously, in all these industries, and my lane definitely wasn't a legacy job. It was a lot of hard work to get here, and but I believe in the saying. I have a saying. It's be, do, have. You be this, you do this, you'll have that. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. I mean, you know, as I said, hard work will beat talent if talent don't work hard. But what if talented people work hard? Well, I mean, then you might not get everything you want. But you have to be something. Then you have to have the do. You have to have the action. Then you'll have it. A lot of people want to be something. They think they're going to be something. But there has to be the action. You know, in the Bible, James 2, it says, faith without works is dead. Faith without action. Growing up in Queens, New York, I remember, Jeff, people would be, you know, put up or shut up. That was the thing we would say. Hey, put up or shut up. You're going to just be all talk or no action. You're going to get up and do something about this, or you're not. And, you know, God said the same thing to us, where he said faith without works, faith without action, faith without doing something. And the same with anything in life. Faith without doing something to get that career. You got to do something. You got to be it, then you got to do it. Then you'll have it.
Guaranteed. Kenny Paradise is watching, and I'm sure Scott is too right now. But no, you know, Kevin, so I think that was probably what your success story is so far, is how much passion you've had for this and your drive to succeed.
Yeah, but you know, the other thing, you know, it is also about networking and having the right people. And I wouldn't be here without those guys. You know, I mentioned Paul Bear, but obviously Scott's phenomenal in this industry. But Kenny really helped me get my first gig, and that was right down here at Adesa Auto Auction. And so that was, 15 years ago.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Long time, man.
It goes fast.
It goes fast.
So what do you think the future of the auctioneering business is going to be? What is your personal opinion? We all have our own personal. Yeah, we all have our own opinions, you know. But what do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I could be politically, you know, or try to make it sound all great and.
We're not political correct on this show, so you be Kevin. That's what I want you to be.
Here's the deal. Everyone's going to have its challenges. I think the auto auction could be developing and be different, but there'll always be room for live auctions somewhere in some portion of this industry. You know, people still want to go out and be entertained. People still want to go out and do things. People still want to be places with people. In fact, most of the big corporations now, Jeff, it's funny you bring this up, that they've even realized, let's get rid of all the stores, they say. But then they realize people still want to go outside. So now they're making flagship stores. You have maybe a store that's sitting there with all of the devices that product or service is selling. And the same thing happens even in the auction industry, right? Hey, there'll always be a Barrett Jackson selling classic cars, man.
Right.
You want top dollar? Where are you going for your antiques? You're probably going to Sotheby's.
Yeah.
You're going to go to one of the big antique places. If you want the best, you want all the money.
Right.
I'm talking all of it.
Where all the buyers go.
Yeah. You want to sell horses maybe online? not my best idea, but you want to go, you want top dollar for your horse, what are you going to do? Go to Keeneland?
Yeah.
You're going to Keeneland, bro.
Guaranteed.
You want all the money.
Yep.
Where's that coming? That's coming live auction. You go to, you got a classic car, sure, you can sell it online. You could do eBay, you could do one of these new things. What about when you want all the money?
Yeah.
You're probably going to Barrett, or you're going to go to one of those places.
Guaranteed,
So
man.
You want all the money. You want top dollar, live auction is where it's at. But, you know, will all the bean counters running all these corporations think the same way as Kevin's mad lab inside his head? Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe not.
My buddy Sean Green, he lives in Lake Charles, Louisiana. He's watching right now. Hello, Sean. How you doing? What we're doing, Sean, is we're bringing a certain aspect of what I do during the week, and it has car-related deals. So this is one of the aspects we're going to be doing today and tomorrow. So it's good to see you on there, my brother. How many auctions a year are you doing now, Kevin?
Well, man, of course, you know, I'm working the auto auctions, 3 of them a week, right? So I'm doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that puts me at what? $150 right there, I guess. Holy crap, I can't even believe it. And then, of course, I'm doing all the fundraising events around the country. I'm probably doing another 50 of those. If I get double booked, I'll use somebody else to do that. Double booked, meaning like I can only do one Friday or Saturday fundraising auction, right? So then
Right.
I might get somebody like Scott. You know, or you, Jeff, or somebody else, like somebody else that's willing to do that and that meets the facet for that client.
Well, I tell you what, man. We all have heard of AI. Yeah, AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah. What do you think about that, man?
Look, man, the world is always evolving. And, you know, even the dinosaur was here and it got extinct. So, you know, you got to evolve with time, man.
Yeah.
We got to use those technologies to our advantage. It's scary. I think a lot of it's going to change us. You know, I mean, there was the horse and buggy, and then came the car, and everybody was worried about all those farriers and people that were had those jobs building and doing those things. But then it changed, and people changed with it. We will do the same, I think. I don't think, again, going into technology, I think there's always a fear with a traditional live auctioneer that we think that's going to go away. I think it's just going to change a little bit, and we need to evolve with it and use it to our advantage.
Yes.
To market to our clients, to our services, use it for things that it makes sense, and don't use it where it doesn't make sense. And also, by having more things pushed that way, elevates even who we are even more, because Jeff, what it does is it shows that technology is one facet, but there's this element of reality, and we bring that to the table. And that's, as I said before, when you want the most money, where do you go? And that's you go to a live auction versus utilizing that kind of thing. But you know, technology is going to be here, and it's going to change, and it's a little scary. People were afraid of the smartphone when that came, so you know, we'll work it in.
Guaranteed. So what's your favorite auction? What type of auction is your favorite auction to do?
Jeff, you know, that's a hard thing to say. You know, I love the auto auction business because of the high-paced sale of it all, the $5,000. You know,
yeah.
I just love that intensity and just the whole grind of it all, and knowing when you just got that extra buck, and that was you that did it. No button's going to make that happen. It was the auctioneer that pulled it off, Jeff.
Right.
And so I love that. But at the same time, there's nothing like hearing some kid who needs money to be raised for some great cause, and knowing that somehow we helped craft that.
Right.
It's almost like looking at a painting and a masterpiece behind a framed thing, and you're like, I did that. Like, I helped do that. And I think that's the same thing with fundraising events. I don't know. That's a hard thing. I just love the auction business, regardless of what it is, Jeff. I just love the job. You know?
So, what is your word to a young person wanting to start in the auction business? What would you recommend they start out doing?
Networking. You know, I mean, obviously going to school, you might think that that's it. And I remember going in there, getting the badge. You know, hey man, I went to auto auction, or I went to Worldwide College of Auctioneering. This is great. Now I'm going to come in. Hey, everybody, hire me. Yeah, it didn't get me anywhere. It was, again, I felt like it was a secret society. It's like, who's this guy? You know, and it took a little while getting in there. It was very discouraging at first. You really got to network. If you know somebody that's in this industry, you have a complete leg up, and I mean drastically. If you have a relative that's in it, even farther. But if you don't, shouldn't discourage you. It just means that you have to be even more hardworking, more passionate, and it might take you a little longer to get where you ultimately want to go, but you can still reach that destination, Jeff. So I would tell them to be persistent, don't give up, kind of work on it every day, just like exercising or riding a bike or lifting weights or anything like that. It's gonna be tough, it's gonna be challenging, but every day you're gonna be a little bit closer to that goal that you want to hit. So yeah.
I got a buddy out in California. He's watching now, Lee Plato. Lee and his son, they have some monster trucks. They're in the monster truck business. Great fan. But this is the audience that this is starting to bring, and I think the audience that the podcast is going to be even more worldwide. So that's one of the reasons why we want to try to get people to do this and do these interviews and stuff. And I really appreciate you taking the time with us today, and really. This was a great interview, man. I really liked it. I knew it was going to be, and it was not scripted. I mean, I'm looking at a couple of questions here, but I think that you have given me all my questions just from talking, and I think that's what makes an interview a success is because then you're into the conversation and stuff like that. So before we go, why don't you tell everybody how they need to get in touch with you, the name of your auction company for benefits and stuff like that,
sure.
and that way, phone numbers and stuff, we can help you.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, call Jeff. Jeff does auto auctions. Jeff does fundraising events as well. And,
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't do fundraising events.
You can do some, but look. I'm doing this just because Jeff just told me to, and
I told you to.
I said, get over here, man. Don't be making balloon animals or something. I don't know, man. I'm good. But if you ever want to call me, phone number 720-329-8626. I will help anybody out that needs the help. Hot Auctioneering was my original website, but then after technology changed everything during COVID, I actually made a second website. Remember, Evolve or Die, and that didn't sound techie enough, Jeff. So I came up with the Smart Gala. Fundraising events done smart. Smart being techie, gala or gala being old. Bring the two things together. And so that's kind of what I did. But I'm just here to help people, and you asked me to do this interview, so that's why I'm here. But it's always fun. Don't give up on any of your dreams. If you're in monster trucks and you think, man, I bet that's a hard industry to get into. I mean, and to break that mold and get the same thing, right? And, these are niche businesses. They're fun, they're exciting, right? When you're in it, and you're part of that group, that society, the little secret group.
Yeah.
But what a ride it is once you get there, whether that's monster trucks, being in the Major League Baseball or the NBA, or in our case, being professional auctioneers. It's a tight-knit group of a lot of love, and it's a great profession. It pays well, does well, and just excited to be a part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Kevin Rudder, and he's kind of explaining his world in the auctioneer and ringman world, and also the world of benefits. So we're going to be talking to Riley Bear here real soon. We appreciate you guys very much for tuning in. We'll be back here in just a minute. Now tomorrow, and Kevin, I would love to be able to get you on film today, showing your auctioneering talents and stuff. But I can't because we're going to be working, man. So, and I apologize for that. Tomorrow, I don't have my lane, so I'm going to be able to, the first thing in the morning, go down and show each and everybody. But maybe a little bit later on in this year, I'll have a little free time and we can kind of catch you and do some filming and stuff.
And they do want to stick around, Jeff, for Riley, because she's far cuter than I am. And smart.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know what? Cuter, I'm going to say yes, okay? I guarantee.
Don't miss out on that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll be back here in just a minute with Riley Bear, and this is Roller. We're hanging out here in Adesa, Colorado Springs, and we're making it happen for you, our lug nuts. We'll talk to you real soon. Bye.